Hello and welcome to Maqala Foresight, and this is Mikhail Mnasse, producer and host of the show. In the just ended Tigray regional elections, 5 contending political parties contested. One of these parties is Greater Tigray Congress Party, or Baitona. Here with me today is Deputy Chairman of the party, Abraha Teklu. Welcome to the show.
Well, stay, and I thank you for your invitation.
So let's start with the genesis of your party. How, when, and why was it formed?
Okay, Baitona was founded in 2019 on April, and the very reason for the existence of Baitona is one thing, that is, there is existential threats for the Tigrayan people, and this existential threat is external and internal. External existential threat is emanated from the Ethiopia itself, because Ethiopia has a structural problem. There is no common understanding in history, culture, language, and future aspirations. So there are divergent views which are very difficult for reconciliation. For example, the Tigrayan peoples believe that on equality, but on the other parts, there are forces that want us to melt the societies in a single spot, or they need us to assimilate every society, every people. They need us to speak one language. They need us to sing a single song. This is the threat which is emanated from the external parties. The other one is the internal problem. As you know, Tigray has a undemocratic system. We believe in this. There is lack of good governance, and there is economic problem. Tigray is first in poverty. Tigray is first in migration. It is used to different parts of the world, especially to the Arab countries. And Tigray has economic structural problem. So when we sum up these two things, they are existential threats for the Tigrayan people. So the reason for the establishment of Baitona is these two things, these two points or causes.
So what's your main proposition of your party, and what's your election platform?
Before I proceed to this one, I need to add some important points. When Baitona has identified these problems, it devised exit strategies from this problem. One and the most important point is Tigray should base it on itself. That means the political economy of Tigray should be inward looking. Therefore, there are pillars to achieve these objectives. One pillar is indigenous thought is very important. We have to stick ourselves to our indigenous thought. But this means that we don't mean that we will not take ideas or other lessons from the other countries. Here we will be very pragmatism. The other pillar is strong nationalism. Tigray needs to have strong nationalism. Tigray does not need class analysis, because Tigray is in the stages of pre-class society. Therefore, nationalism is very important for the Tigrayan peoples. The other one is self-reliance, and the other pillar is freedom and justice. Economic freedom, governmental transformer roles are pillars in our program. Therefore, by using these principles, Tigray can be emancipated from its political problem, economic problems. We had proposed totally to change the election system. As you know, our election system was simple majority. So this simple majority cannot bring democracy in Tigray, because in a simple majority, as all of you know, there are votes expired without representatives. So what we had proposed was, one, the election system has to be proportional. That was our insistence. But the ruling part didn't accept this proportional. Rather, the ruling class accept the mixed parallel, as all of you know. So that was our proposition. But the Tigray State Council simply accepted the ruling class opinion and put as proclamations.
There was some discussion, some consultation with all the parties, right?
Yeah.
So does that mean you were outvoted?
There were 4 parties during the negotiation. The ruling part, Baitona, South, as well as the Tigray independence part. So during the negotiation, the 3 parts was in the same stand. So if it is outvoting, the reverse would be up. But I think it is imposed. It's not outvoted, because 3 parties insisted to have proportional system, but the ruling part was in position to have mixed parallel. Then finally, the Tigray State Council accept the election system will be mixed parallel.
Okay. On the political program, what different thing did you come up with?
Okay. Our program in the political aspect, as I have told you before, it is a radical democracy. Democracy must be start from the grassroots. It should not be subscribed from the above. People should have a say, real say, on its issue. Therefore, we follow radical democracy. You know, in Tigray, the justice is very important, and our people appreciate justice. So we need to have rule of law and at the same time justice. So in political aspect, we advocate the radical democracy, that it starts from the bottom-up approach. In the economic aspect, we allow government interference, but for transformation purpose. So you can say that developmentalism. In this aspect, you may say what is your difference with the TPLF, yeah? Yes. As to our opinion, TPLF cannot be a developmental government, and it is not developmental.
Why do you say
well, because revolutionary democracy cannot be developmentalism. Why is the reason? Developmentalism needs meritocracy, strong institution. But when you come to revolutionary democracy, it cannot build institutions, and it cannot believe. To follow meritocracy. Rather, it needs loyalty. Therefore, we have a strong argument that TPLF is not developmental state. And it could not be.
So all those pillars you were telling me earlier, are you doing all these in the framework of a united Ethiopia?
No.
So
it's not our concern. It's not our concern. The Ethiopian unity. Simply, we are doing our interests. That is take into consideration Tigray. So,
but Tigray happens to be in Ethiopia.
Until now it is in Ethiopia. But if you see our program, to be with Ethiopia, we need the confederation. Less than confederation, it is very difficult to be with Ethiopia. Therefore, we need to change the constitution. We need to change it.
So as opposed to Tigray Independence Party, you are going for an Ethiopia that is under confederation.
Yeah, we call upon the elites, the Ethiopian elites to accept our proposal, that is confederation. Federation is failed already in Ethiopia. It will not work, and it didn't work anyway.
Let me take you back to the election process. How was it? What's your assessment and the outcome as well?
I need to divide the process, the election process, pre-election and during the election period. It is too early to evaluate the after election, but I need to stick myself with the pre-election and the election day. The pre-election, there was budget allocation, airtime allotments, campaigns. So the pre-election almost that was fair and okay. The only problem is there was budget demands to allocate to the parties. Unless otherwise, as parts, we didn't evaluate as such problem in the pre-election. During the election period again, there were pitfalls in different parties.
Irregularities?
Yeah, irregularities, and we have indicated this to use as a lesson for the next election. But there were again...
and what were those?
Lot of things I don't want to expose here, but there were many pitfalls.
Why not?
Of course, we have already stated in our press release, and we have indicated with the concerned body.
So it's already public?
It's already public. And our purpose to expose these pitfalls is to be a lesson for the next election. That is objective.
So the federal government is saying now that election can be held while taking precautions against COVID-19. What's your reaction?
As to my opinion, COVID-19 was a pretext, and the Addis Ababa regime used it and exploited it to its purpose. But now we are hearing there will be an election. I think the regime decided now to conduct an election is for two reasons. Maybe there is an international influence, one thing, that is my speculation. The other fact is all political actors are already now in prison. So maybe he evaluated he will get a chance to snatch the election process. These are the points that I consider why the Abraha Teklu regime is intending to conduct an election.
Soon there will be a new elected regional government in Tigray. What will be your role in this government? Okay. Or how are you going to get involved after that?
The seats are already taken by the ruling party, 100%. So we will not have participation in the state council.
I heard that you got one seat.
Are you sure?
That's what was publicly announced.
I am not sure. It is very controversial.
Can you tell us about it?
I heard of that seat again as of you, but it is very controversial. We are not sure that whether that seat belongs to Baitona or not. So I don't need to say more about this one.
Did you inquire? Did you ask the election committee?
Yeah. We have inquired them, and they told us that it will belong to you, but we didn't get satisfactory their justification to say so.
Well, they are not the ones to offer, but if you have won it, you've won it.
But the argument is whether that seat is an offer or our effort.
What do you think?
I can't say the hard and fast things here.
Okay. What will be your next plan to, prepare yourself for the next elections, after 5 years?
It's good points. Even though it is not full evaluation, we have tried to evaluate our strengths and weakness during the election period and in the pre-election period. We have got a lot of weakness, our weakness. The result that we didn't get as we expected is more or less because of our weakness. It is the party's weakness. We don't need to blame other parties. But when I say this, I don't mean that there were external influences. There were external influences, but these external influences were minimized had we been in a good position in our organization, in our agitation, and in our political campaigns. Therefore, the first thing is what we are going to do for the next 5 years is to have grounds, to introduce our programs to the societies in the grass root level, and to make our organizations very strong. So this is our plan for the next 5 years.
So Ethiopia is now, many believe, in a crisis.
Yeah.
What do you think is the way out?
To change the constitution and to have political dialogue.
What's wrong with the constitution?
The constitution does not respect the minority. You know, minority right was maintained because of EPRDF, not because of the parliament. As you know, EPRDF's number in the executive body was equal. So this was helping us House of Federation, not that House of Federation. But now EPRDF is already collapsed. And we have seen that any minority in Ethiopia could not respect their economic interests and their political interests with the given constitution. So as to the opinion of my part, the Ethiopian constitution should be changed and should be revised and should allow to implement confederation political arrangements in Ethiopia. So that is my opinion. But to do that, there should be political dialogue, political negotiation. If it is necessary again, it's better to establish a transitional government. But if try the Abraha Teklu regime to maintain the current conditions, and if he tries to be in his position with the given all evilities that we see and prevail in Ethiopia, Ethiopia will be disintegrated. This will not be without a cost. Ethiopia will pay costs, economic costs, political costs, societal crisis, and others. Therefore, international community should think and stop and evaluate critically the regime in Ethiopia is going in a very devastating way. And they have to impose their impositions upon these regimes to accept the people's voice, the political elite's voice. If they don't do this, they will see a very disintegrated Ethiopia. Ethiopia with greater 1 million peoples that will be a devastating for the Horn of Africa, not only for Ethiopia.
I was reading the other day a report of a study by Afrobarometer which says that most of the respondents are in favor of the continuation of federal system in Ethiopia. So if your proposition for a confederate Ethiopia does not find its way, I mean, is not accepted by the majority, how will you continue to involve yourself in Ethiopian politics?
Okay, I haven't seen the political report that you have mentioned. They may arrive at the conclusion federal system is a good system for Ethiopia, but this is not good for Tigray. I can say in a very firm way federal system unless otherwise fundamentally changed, unless otherwise it has the essence of confederation.
But they are completely different things.
Yeah. Federation and confederation are completely different. In the case of confederation, the points that we connect with the federal governments are few in number. Even they are 3 in numbers. The currency issue, foreign diplomacy, some limitations, as well as military aspects. But in the case of federal system, the power is, whether it is loose or not, the power is in the central government. So we will struggle and we will pursue our people's federal system is not a choice for our peoples, because the last 27 years was an incurrence for Tigrayan peoples. We didn't get any benefit from that. You can see the current results. Even though TPLF tried its best to sustain the federal system, it's already failed. Even TPLF cannot save by the system that it has followed. It becomes the victim of its weak strategy towards of that. Therefore, we will struggle bitterly towards this. Federalism is completely against the interest of Tigrayan peoples.
Abraha Teklu, thank you very much indeed for this interesting conversation.
Thank you very much. The Tigray mainstream medias already had started an atmosphere that entertained the opposition parties. So not only for this interview, but for the past interviews and our political campaigns, I need again to say thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, we have come to the end of the interview, and this is goodbye from me and the technical crew. Thank you for tuning in.